working alongside you professionals who've been keeping us in the loop and in the know for the
I will
several
say
days.
that is one of the best parts about what could be a very bad situation is that the lead time in terms of forecasting and preparation has been tremendous. There is rarely a time in which we can start forecasting something on Sunday night and see its development. While there have been changes along the way, the general forecast has stood, and at this point in time, I have no reason to believe that it will not turn out as expected. New information coming in within the past 10 minutes here. An ice storm warning. This is an unprecedented event, folks. An ice storm warning now in effect for all of Metro Atlanta. I do not want to leave out counties that are outside of the metro, but if you're in the metro, you know who you are. That's Douglas County, Fulton County, Cobb County, Paulding County, along with Gwinnett and Cobb counties, reaching down to Clayton County, going into Newton County, Rockdale as well. And then as you get out into Walton and Gwinnett counties, once again, you all are joining what had until just an hour ago or 15 minutes ago had been mainly northeast Georgia that was under that ice storm warning. It also extends out and over the I-75 corridor, and that's a bit of a surprise to me. That means that the modeling is starting to now bring more of northwest into the conversation and saying that that warm air may not actually be able to hold against that wedge that will bring in some sub-freezing temperatures first to the south and to the north and to the east, but then that cold air is going to extend much further to the west than we originally thought. So what does that mean? Up to an inch of ice. That is absolutely disastrous if that were to occur. This all starts midday tomorrow and impacts will continue into Monday. As for the metro area, we're looking at maybe a brief round of rain, and that could start sometime around tomorrow afternoon. As we get into the evening hours, there will be a changeover of freezing rain. And what you're seeing right here is a safe block of about 6 hours. This is overnight when temperatures are at their coldest, when freezing rain will fall, and this will accumulate fairly quickly, especially if the rain is not so present. The temperature falls first and then the rain comes behind it, so the bridges and overpasses are going to be quite vulnerable. But even as we get into the wee hours of Sunday morning, I think asphalt is not going to hold this warmth at all. We're going to find that those temperatures on all surfaces end up falling to or below freezing. We'll end it with some rain before it's all said and done. For northeast Georgia, this is going to be the area of highest impact, Gainesville, Athens included. We're expecting you to get a late morning or mid-afternoon start with freezing rain that rides through the majority of the day. Sunday, northwest Georgia, once again, you've been in the conversation for a wintry mix to start, but then that freezing rain laying hold before we end it with some wet weather to close out your Sunday afternoon for both the northwestern section of Georgia and the Atlanta metro area here. Control room, I know I'm running out of time, but we're kind of in an active weather situation, so I'm going to keep on rolling here. Meteorologist call on the spot. 6 p.m. Friday, you can see here things are still fairly calm and quiet. We have winds coming in out of the north and the east, and that changeover is going to really knock these temperatures down. Already 30 degrees tomorrow morning in Blairsville, 33 in Cornelia, 36 in Gainesville, but look, 31 in Dalton. So whatever falls to the sky, whether it be snow, a wintry mix, a freezing rain, sleet, is going to be significant there. It looks like it's going to be more of a flirt than an outright takeover, but as we get into the afternoon hours, I think Atlanta, you're finally starting to get some wet weather here. And like I mentioned to you, we're still holding on to 40+ degree temperatures even at the 4 o'clock hour. But look at the numbers starting to fall fast. In 4 hours, we'll be down to just 2 degrees above freezing. That's here in Atlanta at 8 o'clock. And then that wall of water turns into freezing rain as it meets temperatures that are below freezing area-wide. Rome, Carrollton, going all the way down to LaGrange, you're in the 30s. But look at these numbers from Atlanta to the north and to the east. Temperatures in the 20s from Cornelia to Gainesville all the way up to Blairsville, 31 from Canton to Atlanta down to Griffin, 34 degrees. And that will be our lot through the overnight hours into the wee hours of Sunday morning. I think Sunday morning may not offer so much falling precipitation, but the ground is going to be littered. The surfaces are going to be very slick and the roads will be hazardous. As we get into the second half of the day, the temperature may bulk up a bit above freezing, and that will introduce us to a pretty aggressive rainmaker, but it will be an in the hour and by the moment and by location call to see if this actually changes to full out rain, because if the temperature on the ground is below freezing, this could add insult to injury. Temperatures take a nosedive into Monday morning. We're down into the teens. Alex, by Tuesday morning, you'll be waking up with temperatures that are in the teens here in the city, with wind chill values that will be in the single digits or perhaps below zero.